Yo, what are you lot saying? It's your boy Jibber Boy here, and today what I've got for you, it is a MotoGP 2015 Grand Prix de France review for you guys. And yeah, let's get right down to this video. Now, before the weekend got underway, Dani Pedrosa made a comeback to MotoGP following his arm surgery that he had for a couple of weeks. So yeah. He was all better, and as a result got back on the bike and was riding at Le Mans, which was good to see. And yes, and before qualifying in FP4, Loris Baz, who usually is at the back, went fastest. He went fastest in sort of intermediate to sort of slick conditions, in a very greasy conditions, on slick tyres. Nobody went on slick tyres, nobody was brave enough to take slick tyres bar Loris Baz, who did and went fastest, so good job by him. And yeah, he got a standing ovation by the French crowd, especially as he was from there. So yeah, a very good session from him there, something that would probably raise his confidence up a lot. But as we went into qualifying, pretty much most people use the option. Most people use the slick tyres. So yeah. So in Q1, it was very hectic, particularly at the sharp end, when there were the likes of Hayden, Abrahams, Redding, the two Suzukis, and Petrucci, and I think that's about it. But yeah, all of like the open class and a little bit of the satellites were all pushing to try and get themselves into Q2. I think there was like a 6-way fight for the top two to move on into Q2. But the two that got in were in fact Alicia Spargo and Dani Petrucci. Petrucci went fastest along with Alicia Spargo. But in the end, it was Scott Redding. In the closing stages, it was Scott Redding who fell off his bike. He was pushing as hard as he can, going into the first chicane. He lost the bike, and that was it. That was his chances of getting into Q2 wiped out. So unlucky for him there. So yeah. Then moving into Q2, the track got a little bit more drier. A lot more quick times were being set, and yes, and Rossi really struggling. I mean, at the start of the session, he was nowhere near the top, to be honest. He was 12th at the start of it, and then at the end he was 7th. So really weird. We've seen this a lot from Valentino Rossi in qualifying, him not being right in the sharp end. I think that's something that hurts him a little bit, because you know, he could be missing out on potential wins. You know, yes he's come from those kind of positions and won, but you know, he could have won so much more if he qualified a little bit more higher. So yeah, he's qualifying not that very good, but the race exceptional. So yeah. Dovizioso was second in that Ducati. Great qualifying by him, making the Ducati work. We've seen this track to be a Ducati one just because of the straights and whatnot. Bar Jerez, which is mostly dominated by corners, hence the reason why the Ducatis were so far off the pace from the Yamahas and the Hondas. So it's great to see the Ducatis right up there along with the Yamahas and the Hondas. In third, it was Jorge Lorenzo. A little bit disappointed, to be honest. He was gunning for that pole position, but unfortunately did not work out for him. But the man who was on pole position was Marc Marquez in that 93 Repsol Honda bike. A pretty dominant qualifying, beated Dovizioso by 0.5 of a second. Great qualifying by him. Fourth was, by the way, was Cal Crutchlow. Good lap by him there, getting right in the sharp end as always with that LCR Honda bike. So yeah. So a pretty good qualifying session, I would say. So moving on into the race, it was a good start by all of the riders, but in particular Dovizioso, who got an absolute blinder, pulled away from pulled away from Lorenzo Marquez. But as soon as they came into the first chicane, Marquez ran a little bit too deep. He tried to go for the lead of the race, ran too deep. Almost went off the track going into the Dunlop chicane, but thankfully he was able to stay in 4th place, where he dropped before making the move. So yeah, that's a good recovery by Marc Marquez there. And then afterwards, Marc Marquez really just didn't seem comfortable with the bike. He never seemed to keep up with the Ducatis and the Yamahas. He was dropping off, and even at one point, you know, was right behind a satellite Yamaha of Bradley Smith, who by the way Bradley at the time was running a phenomenal race, phenomenal race, in 4th place, in 5th I mean. So yeah, good ride at the moment by Bradley Smith. And then at the front we saw Rossi setting a really quick blinders, and as a result pulled some great moves on the 2 Ducatis to put him up to 2nd place, but unfortunately didn't really have the pace to keep up with Lorenzo, who by the way got past Dovizioso in the early part of the race. I think he did it by the last chicane, in that last little bit of the track there before going on to the main straight. It's a good pass by him in that Yamaha. Yamaha now currently is really in a class of its own. You know, I think this is the best we've ever seen the Yamahas run. You know, probably not since 2008, 2009 have we seen them run like this. To be honest, you know, they are really in a class of their own. Are the Yamahas. Really, it's been a really good season for them at the moment, and hopefully it will keep up. It will keep going during the season, to be honest. So yeah. And then afterwards, we saw a crash early on as well. Danny Pedrosa, he fell off his bike. Unfortunately, he dropped to the back of the grid, but managed to recover to 16th. So good ride by him. Just unfortunate to be outside of the points. So yeah. And then afterwards we saw another crash, and that was Cal Crutchlow. Cal Crutchlow came off his bike just as he was going on to the Bugatti circuit. So yeah, unfortunate for him, but that's MotoGP. So yeah, unfortunate. We also saw another one as well. I think it was Mike D'Amelio that went off, going into the coming out of this at the same point as Danny Pedrosa out of the Dunlop chicane, coming out of the Dunlop chicane. And then also we saw Alicia Spargo have problems. He was hurt from the race, unfortunate for him there. And then afterwards we saw a really good battle going on between Bradley Smith, Marc Marquez and Andrea Iannone. Yeah, Andrea Iannone faded from Dovizioso, and as a result was in the clutches of Marc Marquez and Bradley Smith, who Marc Marquez you know, just with a few laps to go, he started to find his rhythm, he started to find his confidence that really he was missing at the start of the race. And really what we thought, you know, could have been a problem and whatnot, wasn't. You know, I think it was a bit of confidence problems and whatnot. You know, him not, you know, getting comfortable with the bike and whatnot, but I think now he started to feel some comfort, he started to feel some confidence, and as a result got a lot more pace and was able to close up to Iannone much more better than, you know, than at the start of the race. So yeah. And yeah, there was a good battle going on between Iannone and Marquez. They both went at it hammer and tong. Nobody wanted to give way, but in the end, Marc Marquez, with a few laps of running with Iannone, was able to dispatch Iannone. It was a great fight, probably one of the best I've ever seen, to be honest. Them just duking it out, you know, really putting it on the line, which is nice to see. Being hard but fair, which is nice to see as well. I like to see a lot of hard but fair racing in MotoGP or in any motorsport category, to be honest. So yeah, good racing between Marquez and and Ineone. Bradley was not able after that to close on Ineone, so he had to settle for 6th. Unlucky for him, to be honest. He had a golden opportunity to get 4th place, which would be his best of the season, but sadly has to settle for 6th. Unfortunate, but a really good ride for the Brit there. He's had a really good weekend so far, and hopefully it will continue on going into Mugello, so yeah. But in the end, it was Jorge Lorenzo who took his 2nd win in succession. A great win by Lorenzo, completely dominated that race. He was totally in control when he got to the lead. He absolutely rode his race, and as a result won the race. A beautiful, comfortable drive by the Spaniard. 2nd was Valentino Rossi. A good ride by him, especially coming from 7th place. Good ride by him. Dobby came home in 3rd. Good ride by him as well. Able to keep a reasonable gap to the 2 Yamahas, which was good. Marc Marquez coming in 4th place. Good ride by him, especially as he was struggling midway through the race. 5th was Ineone. Good ride by him, especially as they were, especially with the fight that he had with Marquez. 6th was Smith, and the top open class bike was Hayden. Hayden in the Aspar bike came to claim the open class win. A good ride by him. A very, very comfortable drive by Hayden there. So yeah, so a very, very good weekend, I must say. So yeah, folks, I think that's about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then hit that like button below, subscribe if you're new, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Boy, I'm out. Peace.